Okie dokie. Welcome. It is Monday, Monday the 13th. Let's have a good week. Going into market open today, I'm pretty bearish, and I'll explain why. So on the daily, we've been pretty bearish overall. We had this massive displacement, pull back to change in the state, displacement, pull back to the imbalance, displacement. Order flow is very bearish, we're fulfilling this sell side of the curve. Where can we expect the daily candle to expand to today? This sell side, which we're already very close to, but we didn't take it, which is really important. So this daily sell side level right here is interesting, which is in this imbalance as well. There's also this daily imbalance we are yet to come into, which could also be a point where price could draw towards today. Zooming in now to the 4 hours, you can see like we're still pretty deep inside this range, equilibrium's far away, but I believe we're still delivering to sell side on this sell model. So again, zooming in once more on the 1 hour now, we London session sold off. I believe this is London session. Yeah, London session sold off to here, did not take sell side, and then we pulled back to this 1 hour fair value gap, which is good, an area we expect price to reject from. Zooming in again, we've got an SMT right here at these highs, highs right there on ES, higher highs, NQ lower highs, and then another SMT got put in at 840. So the move could already be happening. And we don't catch it, which is fine. But as you can see, clear, generating sell side all through this moves up to then trade the sell side of the curve, which aligns with the sell side of the curve of this entire move, and then also, this entire move as well. So that is how I'm framing up my analysis going into open today. It's a no news Monday. Cannot expect much volume. It's also CPI, PPI this week, so that's what I'm expecting. Going into open, we just inversed this 5-minute gap. Could potentially be revisiting it now after having there's the change in state on the 5-minute, because that's the manipulation leg to put in the SMT, then displacement, which validates the manipulation. So the move could be happening before open, and if it does, it's fine, because it's not our job to catch those moves, or it's not my job because I like to trade after market open. So that is what it is. But we will see what happens when the market opens in 22 minutes. So peace. Okay, so a loss on the day, but I feel I did everything right, in my opinion. I took the trade at 9:48, so like 2 minutes before the macro, but in my opinion, the macro is when the move happens, not the entry comes for the move. Like you trade for the macro to be the move, rather than entering the macro. I don't really know how the macro works. Is it a time where price gives optimal entries, or is it a time where the move happens? But I think even when the macro did start, there was an entry on the same place anyway. But I think I didn't make any mistakes today. I think I waited for what I wanted to see happen. This is what I wanted to see happen. It happened, and then it wasn't meant to be, which is fine. These losses, I'm happy with taking. These losses don't hurt at all. Do a little bit because I do everything right, in my opinion. But these losses are expected. These losses are completely fine. Losses like on Friday aren't completely fine, where I do something wrong. But I didn't do anything wrong. So obviously I'm down $145 on the day again. So another 0.3%, which is completely fine. But I think I did everything right, and we'll get into it now. So market open was hella choppy. If you remember, we were in this 5-minute gap here. We came into it, we sold off. 5-minute gap here, we filled it at the open. This was a potential trade I was looking at taking. Literally right at open. This candle here and this candle filled this 1-minute gap. That's a short right there down to this internal sell side level. Stop at that high. That's a trade I was looking at, but I just didn't want to take it because there's no like internal model like leading up to this point where we expect to reject. There's no clear. Obviously, this is the internal model right here. But there's no. Wasn't clean. It was big. Lots of big wicks. Lots of up and down movement at open. So I didn't want to take that trade. And then 943, we had a massive expansion up. ES didn't take this internal low, by the way, so we had an SMT. And in my opinion, the SMT was in place to rebalance price action and put in the manipulation. This SMT is the reason for the manipulation to then take the short. So this SMT did its job, in my opinion. It gave us this huge leg up. We then put in pretty important SMTs. You know, we had this 5-minute gap right here. My chart's a mess. 5-minute gap right here. Still on ES, that 5-minute gap. And that high within it was taken. And 2 SMTs, like, it's not really important, there's 2 SMTs, but on our chart. You know, boom. And that point, the change in the state is down here, and I want to target here. There's no point waiting for that, so I waited for a bearish imbalance to open up. We had that. We came into it. Nice rejection again, nice rejection again. Stop went at the protected high of the SMT, which was also still in that 5-minute gap. And then this 1 minute also still, that 1 minute held bearish. So I was like, right, okay, this is great. It's like quality. You know, we've had that leg back up again to rebalance. We're now going to sell off and continue this down to this low and this low. That never happened. Obviously, I entered in 3 micros, 90 tick stop, risk 0.27%. Obviously, spreads and whatever, commission fees. I lost 0.29%. It doesn't really matter. The account balance 1571. You know, when we lose small. When we win, we hopefully win big, and that's how it's been going recently, which is good. If we look, small loss, small loss, small loss, big win, small loss, small loss, small loss, small loss, a little win. You know, big win. The way this account is, there's no really been a big loss other than, where was it? Oh, I can't remember. This one, I think. Yeah, this one. There's been no real big loss on this XFA. It's been over like $400, $300, which is good. My max loss is $300 that I want to say for the day. Each day, max loss is $300, not per trade, but per day. So obviously, I risked amount where I could take another trade if I wanted to, but nothing that really took my fancy came up. So this was the only trade for today, which is fine. I was open to taking another. We had, you know, these big legs up, but this move actually invalidated. Whoa. Invalidated the that's not normal. That wasn't there a minute ago. Yeah, okay. Weird. Anyway, this big move up invalidated the SMTs I was taking the trades off of, because there was an SMT here to here and here to here. This move took that high, so that SMT. Right, the 5-minute high, it's gone. It's gone. What has happened? That gap was not there. I'm going to go back in the recording and have a look. That gap was not there. I'm convinced that gap wasn't there. Okay, yeah, I'm not going crazy. So that gap has just appeared. I look back into the pre-market video. This was not here. If that was here, it would have changed how I was thinking. But that was not there. I don't know why that's appeared. That is so strange how that's just appeared. Anyway, that big move up invalidated all the SMTs that I was basing my bearish bias off, so I didn't really fancy a trade. There was then a clean 3-minute trade in my opinion. We had this 3-minute gap right here, inversed, along with a 3-minute change in the state, along with a 3-minute imbalance, you know, with this 1-minute imbalance. But there was nowhere, it wasn't in the macro. at all. It was what, 10.20, no macro, and also where do I put my stop in this? Like, that is such a big stop. If I was taking it off that 1 minute imbalance, that is such a huge stop. You know, that's a 1-to-1. That's a 1.37. Like, it wasn't for me. Picture wasn't clear. So that's fine. No other trade was taken. A really weird day. I was really thinking this would be hit this low, but it just hasn't been hit at all. So it's a confusing day, probably because there's no news. No news Monday. We've been going sideways. We've got PPI tomorrow, so that should give us some nice data highs and data lows. That's the trade we lost on, and I'm completely happy with that because everything was there in my opinion. The SMT, the imbalance, this is what the model that I wanted to see happen. It didn't work out. You should always have small losses, small wins, or big wins. And so far, it's been small losses and it's been big wins. So I can't really complain. There's no need to get upset about a loss like this. I'll have to see what kind of trade Justin ended up taking today. There's nothing on that. Yet. Sorry. Whether he even took a trade. So who knows? But I lost today, and that's okay. It is what it is. I'm just going to go journal now and then enjoy the rest of my day. So, with that being said, peace.